Did an awesome stream with Wyatt from Wyatt's Metal the other night. I'll leave a link to it, and I'll leave a link to Wyatt's channel as well in the description, in case you want to check out Wyatt's channel or in case you missed the stream. And one of the things on the stream that I was asked about was my thoughts on this whole Linkin Park saga that's reared its ugly head since they reformed. And while I was on the stream, I got asked on the stream, and while I was on the stream, I didn't want to go too much into it, as I've had some conflicting thoughts about it, and I didn't want to say something that I'd regret or didn't mean, or, you know, something. So I had to think about it. But now I've had a chance to properly think about it. So yeah, that's what we're looking at today. Not just the Linkin Park reformation, but bands in general reforming and replacing members and the like. But before I get into it, hi, it's Andy from the future. Before I jump right into the video today, I've got a huge favour to ask. If you enjoyed the video, you found it informative, helpful, entertaining, anything like that, could you be so kind as to drop a like on the video? Leave a comment and say hi. YouTube is really competitive right now, and all the little free things such as likes, comments, anything like that, it really helps the channel out. Thank you so much. Back to the video. So yeah, Linkin Park popped up on the stream, and I was asked for my thoughts on Linkin Park and their new singer, Emily Armstrong. Now look, I'm not here to start stuff, stir it up or cause controversy. That's not what this channel is about. But as for my thoughts on Emily fronting Linkin Park, gonna be honest, I don't think it should have happened. I was a big fan of Linkin Park back in the day, the early 2000s. I was a fan of all new metal and everything associated with it at the time. But Linkin Park were one of the bands at the forefront of the new metal movement. I mean, they had some epic tunes, and their album, The Hybrid Theory, was one of the defining albums of the early 2000s. Now, I'm gonna hold my hands up and admit I didn't really listen to Linkin Park much after 2005 or something like that, but I was always aware of them, and if one of their tunes came on in the car or something, I'd always turn it up. And I was as shocked as anybody when Chester Bennington decided to, check out. I said this on the stream, right, and I'm going to say it again just in case anybody missed it. To all outward appearances, Chester Bennington seemed fine, he seemed happy, he was with his family. There's, the day before he passed away, there's pictures of him smiling and everything, and he's, it looked like it was all good, and, and then the next minute. So, I mean, it just goes to show that you never know what's going on in somebody's mind, what's going on with somebody, what's going through their head. They might not be all right. So, my advice, don't be a dick to people, because you don't know what they're going through. But anyway, Linkin Park reforming with Emily Armstrong as the singer, and I don't think they should have done. But look, that's just me, that's my opinion, I'm just sharing my thoughts here. Look, for me, without Chester Bennington, it's not Linkin Park. I mean, sure, it's most of the members of Linkin Park. I don't think they've got the same original drummer anymore, and they're playing Linkin Park songs. But it isn't really Linkin Park for me. Not without Chester Bennington. I mean, I'd have been happier if they'd all, got together and started a new band and, something fresh and different. And, maybe even performed a few Linkin Park covers, but, did it in honour of Chester Bennington. But nah, I'm not down with this, and I'm really not interested. Now, I suppose I'm going to have to address the big fat elephant in the room, and that's Emily's past. Right, I'm not going to go into it in this video, but Emily's a Scientologist, and she's done some very questionable things in the name of Scientology in the past. Abhorrent things, and I can't think for the life of me why Linkin Park thought Emily was the best person to replace Chester. Because I'm pretty damn sure that Chester wouldn't have been cool, and he wouldn't have approved of what Emily's done. I mean, clearly Linkin Park doesn't have a HR department or do background checks. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to go into it all. I will leave a link in the description to another channel with a video that can explain it a whole lot better than me, everything that's gone on with the whole Scientology and Emily thing. Link in the description. But anyway, this kind of led me on to falling down a mental rabbit hole about how much can a band replace members and the band still remain the same band or consider being the same band. I mean, this is a tough one. I mean, first off, I think that if a band member passes in circumstances, then the band just needs to call it a day and move on. You know, do something new. New band. I mean, look at Nirvana, right? Kurt passes. Then a little bit later, Dave Grohl comes back as a food fighter, and you know, Nirvana could not have carried on without Kurt Cobain. It wouldn't have been Nirvana. But I also think time plays a big thing as well. I mean, look at AC/DC, right? Bon Scott passes away, and they pretty much straight away replace him with Brian Johnson. I mean, it was almost done seamlessly. But I think in AC/DC's case, them taking on a new singer and carrying on, it was kind of cathartic. It was a catharsis. And, you know, they needed to do it for themselves, and they did it for the fans. I don't know. It was tastefully done. But, I mean, Linkin Park haven't been doing anything for years, and then all of a sudden they decide to reform a few years later with a new singer with, you know, a very questionable past. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Look at Guns N' Roses, right? For me, the classic lineup was Axl, Slash, Izzy Stradlin, Duff, and Steven Adler. And I mean, they've been through so many lineup changes since then. But for me, as soon as Slash and Izzy weren't in the band, it wasn't Guns N' Roses anymore. I don't know though, it's like I say, it's a personal thing. It's definitely a personal thing, and bands go through lineup changes, it's part of life, and I'm not saying that if a member leaves then every band should automatically disband. I think it all depends on what member it was, and you know, and the circumstances. I think the circumstances are very, very important. Looking at you, Lost Prophets. Anyway, the Foo Fighters. I mean, if Dave Grohl, don't get me wrong, I'm not a Foo Fighters fanboy, but if Dave Grohl left the Foo Fighters and was replaced by somebody else, they just wouldn't be the Foo Fighters. You've got to admit that. I don't think they would. If Mick Jagger left the Rolling Stones, would they still be the Rolling Stones? If Angus Young left AC/DC, you see where I'm going with this? I think it all depends on the band and the members, and you know, Chester, you know, he was the Mick Jagger, he was the Kurt Cobain of Linkin Park. I mean, I don't listen to any of the new iterations of Queen. There was Paul Rodgers and Queen and Adam Lambert, I think he's called. For me, Queen aren't Queen without Freddie Mercury. I mean, how can you replace Freddie Mercury? Come on. Freddie's irreplaceable. Do you know what? I think it's really bad to say this, but you can generally get away with replacing a drummer or a bass player. Even some guitar players. Keyboardists. I'm going to get some hate for this. Now, don't get me wrong. There's been a lot of cases where changing out a frontman or a frontwoman has worked. I mean, Van Halen changed from Dave Lee Roth to Sammy Hagar, and that was a huge success. A lot of people said Van Halen were better with Sammy Hagar, but I don't know. For me, there's just some frontmen and women that you can't replace. But with Linkin Park, no, you can't just replace Chester Bennington with anyone and call it Linkin Park. It's wrong. His vocals were one of the key elements, one of the ingredients that made Linkin Park the band that they were and gave them their energy. And anything else without Chester, it's just a copy, it's a tribute band. Look, I don't know why they decided to reform with a new singer. I mean, maybe they needed the money, maybe somebody told them it was what the fans wanted. I just don't think it was the right move, and definitely hiring Emily with a sketchy past, that wasn't a good move. Look, I'd love to hear everyone else's thoughts on this, so jump in the comment, let me know about a band who, changed members and it worked, or, bands that should have broken up when a member had moved on, or, give me some examples of where it's worked and where it hasn't, and maybe I'll have another look at this in the near future and make another video. Anyway, that's all for today's whatever this has been. Make sure you like and subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. I've got some t-shirts and stuff for sale, hoodies, links in the description. Don't forget, a live stream every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 PM UK time, so come along and check that out. Join in the chat, they're a lot of fun. You can also become a channel member and a Patreon now, links in the description. Thanks for watching, take it easy. Peace out.